So let's look at the back of two different Visa statements. I typed up what I had on my, a couple of statements that I had, and you can see all of the verbiage here. They're trying to explain to you exactly how they calculate the average daily balance, the daily periodic rate, and then the finance charge. So they're trying to show you exactly how that's all calculated and what their policies are. And each company has a different set of policies. And so this is the back of one statement, and this is the back of another statement. And so the concepts are very much the same, but the way they write it up and then any special cases, how they treat them could be slightly different. So for this first account, what I want to do is just kind of look at, I made up some numbers here for balances and finance charges just so that we'd have something to look at. This particular credit card advertises a 7.99% APR, and this is what they advertise. So this is what you'll see. And so they'll say, oh yeah, this card has 7.99%. And then they are telling us that the corresponding annual percentage rate that goes with that annual percentage rate that they advertise is the 7.990. And I read up a little bit online, and it turns out some companies will advertise 7.99 and then they'll actually use another 9 after following, which increases the amount of interest you'll owe slightly. But this company is saying, yeah, we're using exactly 7.99. So that's what's going on there. And then this daily periodic rate, remember, is your APR divided by 365, like I told you. So if we take 7.99 divided by 365, we get 2.18904, and you can see that it's 0219. And if we look at that same position, 1, 2, 3, 4, this 8 here would be rounded to a 9. And so this percentage that they're giving us here is exactly the same as the percentage that we're coming up with when we do the divide by 365. So it is a percent, and it's way less than 1%, but it's the percentage rate per day. So the daily periodic rate is what that's generally called. And then the average daily balance, again, you would take all of the balances for the month and divide by, I think on this card it was 30 days in the billing cycle. And so you add up all the balances for every day and divide by 30. So sum of daily balances divided by 30. And it doesn't tell you the number of days here, but they're going to use their number of days for however many days we're in the billing cycle, and you just have to look at what they put here and kind of go with that. So for purchases, you can see I had one rate of 7.99%, and for cash advances, the interest rate is much higher, and that's pretty normal. If you take a cash advance on a credit card, you get charged immediately. You don't get a grace period, and you get charged a higher rate of interest. So if you need cash, the credit card is like the most expensive way to get cash. It's better if you can actually use your credit card to purchase an item than to take cash from the credit card. So looking at the rates for the cash advance, we have 19.99%, so I'll put 19.99%, divide that by 365, and I get 0.0547, and it'll go up to 8, so 0.0548, and you can see that matches exactly with what they had for the daily periodic rate. Here's a cash advance amount, and then we want to see what the finance charges are. So I'm looking at the daily balance. So it's going to be, remember that interest equals principal times rate times time. That comes in very handy here on a credit card. So think about it as interest equals principal times rate times time. And if we're doing everything in terms of days, instead of years, if we use our principal, which would be the average daily balance, and we use a rate, which is a daily periodic rate, and then the number of days, then it'll work out. So everything in terms of days, which is not how we usually use this formula, but for credit cards, this is what they do. So then we can do the interest for just the daily purchases. That'll be 5,441.96 times the rate, which is 0.0219%. And I'm making a big point about that. And then the days, remember for this credit card, I think it was 30, so we can check that out. So we'll put in 5,441.96 times 0.0219, and that was a percent, times 30. So we get 35.75, and they have 35.74. So I think I know where that they came up with that penny difference. And if you take that 7.99 divided by 365, then we get the 0.0218, which we rounded to 0.0219. If I don't round it and I just turn it into a percent, and then multiply by the 5,441.96 and by the 30 for the 30 days, then you can see I will get the 35.74 for the finance charge. So they're actually showing it in its rounded form, but they're not using it in its rounded form. They are using it with all the decimal places that come after. So that actually works out in our favor by a penny, so I'm not going to complain. If we look at the cash advance, then give that one a try and see if you can come up with how, we already looked at how they got the 0.0548%, but see if you can calculate and get that 74.44.